Hello everybody, we got a shiny Swede making its debut on the silver screen. Had to wait till it was close to evening time here so that the sun would settle a little bit just so I could film this bike. It was just too darn shiny earlier. Getting some crazy glare off that gas tank. So basically the deal with this machine is that I haven't done a thing to it really yet to try to start it. I mocked it all together here real quick. Basically, a guy had it on Marketplace for a while, and it had a nice rebuilt engine, not repainted or anything like that. But the rest of it was still in shambles, and he was missing a lot of the hardware for it. But since in the, I don't know, past decade or so, I bought out several large inventories of Husqvarna parts. I really wasn't concerned about it. I've got like endless Bufo bolts and FEMSA ignitions and things like that. So I knew putting it together would be pretty easy. But I wanted to do it quick. I did it in about 12 hours or something like that because I knew otherwise this bike would be scattered to the wind with the rest of my Husqvarnas that are in boxes. So I put together really fast, but haven't done anything to it yet. Just today, I built a seat for it here. I was going to make a whole video about doing that, about going to a DC plastic seat instead of the original, because the originals are sometimes difficult for people to deal with because you got to glue the cover down. There are some teeth on them too, but kind of difficult. But I decided against the video because I made up nice measurements and everything, but the seat pan was just so far off and their foam was so far off. I don't know what's going on over there. Several different names for the aftermarket gas tank that this machine has. Some people call it a High Point or a Wassel. Now this is the 1969 or 1970 style front fender brace with a reproduction front fender. I kept a side number plate with those numbers on it because I thought that that was rather funny, the 700 AD, because this bike does look ancient. Gonna have to replace the inner fender here at some point. See, they cut out the stator cover here a little bit in between where it goes to the shifter mechanism and the actual stator area. Trying to lighten it up a little bit. It looks like they also welded some beads on the foot peg there. Some little spot welds. It's got the original Girling shocks without the chrome body on the outside of them. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but that is the original aluminum rear fender. Those are getting very tough to find. You can see it's got a little crack down the back of it. Very common to happen to those fenders. Front fenders are even tougher to get. Most of the time I just use reproductions on mine now because they're pretty darn nice. You can see somebody welded this spark arrestor or silencer at one point in time to the factory pipe. I don't think it's even got any guts in it, so not doing anything. I've gotten lucky cutting those off in the past. I'll probably cut that one off at some point, but like I said, I just wanted to put this bike back together fast so it didn't get lost in my piles of stuff. Now you can see here where they widen the brake pedal. It looks really goofy and kind of is, but at the same time they kept it close to the way the stock one was, and the stock one's a little tiny nothing piece. Looks like there's some damage on the clutch cover there. I've got another one of those I can change out here, so that's not too big of a deal. Got that newer style Bing carb. I know at least in 1969 the open classer still had the side fill Bing, the side float Bing, whatever you want to call it. This bike also had a pretty decent amount of port work done to it, so it'll probably be pretty competitive. These are lighter machines. I think people got a little upset at me in my earlier video about my DT2MX, making it seem like it's completely uncompetitive. And one thing I'm really saying about those is it comes down to weight on them. They're good bikes, but you got a machine like this that's just so much lighter. Notice I've got some Gaki air fork caps here. Those are a pretty cool little mod. Don't really do a heck of a lot, but you get your little Schrader valves up there. And I've had several of these over the years, and they do good. They're nice little reliable machines. I don't really like doing gearboxes on these. It's got a pretty finicky transmission design in there. I mean, they're pretty reliable until they go, and then there's more motors I'd rather rebuild than this one. See, it's got Husqvarna's signature air bell on it. Now, what made these bikes so competitive is this chromoly chassis. They would first do these weld-together frames, you know, the one-piece frame instead of having a bolt-together frame like they had in '67 and prior. But on those earlier ones, Torsten Hallman would go on to win 4 world championships. During these years, the Huskies didn't do as good as they probably could have, just because there was hot shoe rider Joel Robert riding for CZ on the Side Piper on the 980s. But this machine probably is a better machine than the Side Piper, but I guess it didn't pan out that way just because they had somebody fast on CZ. So it all comes down to the local races now, which one you think's better. Personally, I think they both have their good points and their bad points. But I think this bike's frame is a real good point for it. They would end up keeping this frame all the way through 1974 for the production machines. Essentially the exact same thing that, like, everybody's favorite, the Husky Mag, uses. Now, I don't have bolts in the lower engine mount here, but you'll notice that's one of the big differences. On the newer machines, they had those aluminum plates instead of just the unit like that. Not a big difference, though. The swing arm's also slightly different on them, too. But if you guys want to see a video of me finishing this machine up and trying to do its first start, and I don't know how long this bike's been in boxes, but we could do that. I would say this machine's probably been off the dirt for a long time. I'm not sure that motor even got used a heck of a lot. It looked fresh as can be and all original. I'm surprised it even has that Kickstarter damage, but that is rather common. It's even got the original old school Magura perches. I do have Jofco levers on those. If you guys remember Jofco levers, I've got a big assortment of those that I ended up with. So you can tell just how shiny that gas tank is. That might be a little bit too much. Might have to end up painting that. I kind of want to paint this bike up like a normal Husqvarna paint scheme anyway. I think that would look good with the aluminum tank. For my other Cross 400 or maybe my 360, I'm not sure which bike is getting it yet. I got one of those Lita tanks like the Team Riders had. Those are pretty neat. To me, I always thought these aluminum tanks were kind of not really the most attractive ones, but you know, it is light, it is period correct. And so since this bike, I don't have many dollars into it, I thought it would be cool to keep it. Well guys, let me know what you think of this machine in the comments, and please subscribe. Thank you very much.